Hello, welcome back to What If. No one sponsored Ash. I have returned with this series and this part is going to be a bit shorter than my other parts because I've realized that sometimes I drag up my stories too long and I'm just trying to cover as much content as I can but not take too much time and create quality stories for people to enjoy. And quality stories that I enjoy making. Anyway, enough talk, let's get into the action of this part. So, after beating Misty, Ash would then decide to make his way to Vermilion, but Ash is not going to encounter any of the starter Pokemon that he caught in the original timeline because, honestly, I think I include the starters in too many stories, and also because Ash was a lot later than last time, personally I think that other people probably met the start Pokemon and took them, and I think someone else might have saved Charmander from the rain, or Charmander might have unfortunately passed away. And honestly, I think the squad might have been arrested, or someone else might have led them to the right path. But anyway, let me just get on with this story. So Ash would just make his way to Vermilion City, where he would then see Team Rocket, the same two grunts who were trying to catch him, trying to catch his Dratini and take it back to the Team Rocket base. But he wouldn't think much of them, as he didn't think that they were going to really do anything. He would then make his way back into Vermilion Gym, and would then meet Surge. Surge would say that Ash looks like quite a young trainer and that he doesn't think that Ash can beat him. Ash would say that he was going to beat Surge and get his Thunder badge, as Surge would then say, okay, since you have only about 2 badges, I think that I'm only going to use my Raichu on you. And also he would say that Raichu is the only Pokemon that he has on him. Send out Raichu's, Ash would send out Dratini. Raichu would blast back Dratini with a quick attack which would knock it back. Dratini would then hit with a Dragon Rage. As then both Pokemon would clash with extreme speed on Dratini's side and quick attack on Raichu's side. But eventually, Raichu would be knocked back as extreme speed was the faster and more powerful move. Raichu would then electrocute Dratini with a Thunderbolt to leave it bruised and injured, as he would then get right back up. As Ash didn't know what to do, as he would then pull out his handy book, as he would then go to the page of Dratini, which would say that Dratini also knew Thunder Wave, as Ash would remember that it knew the move, as he would then try use a Thunder Wave as Raichu tried to use a quick attack to come right towards Dratini, but instead Raichu would absorb the Thunder Wave as it would increase its special attack. Surge would then say that his Raichu's ability was Lightning Rod, as then Ash would say that he saw that in the handy book, but because it said hidden ability, he didn't think that Raichu would have it. But Surge would then say, now you know. As then Raichu would electrocute Pikachu with an incredibly powerful Thunderbolt. Well, not Pikachu, but Dratini. This would almost leave Dratini knocked out. But Ash would have an idea, as he would then tell Dratini to prepare a Dragon Tail, as when Raichu came charging in, it would sweep Raichu's leg with the Dragon Tail, which would cause Raichu to trip. And because Raichu had put all of its weight and speed into that quick attack, it would do a lot of damage onto Raichu. Then, after that, Raichu would flip over on its back, as then Dratini would finish it off with a Dragon Rage, which would leave it knocked out. Ash would then quickly return to Tini, as Surge would be shocked and impressed at Ash's quick battle strategy. He would then say that he'd never seen anything like that Ash was quite a smart trainer. Ash would say that when he looked through the handbook, it said that moves like low sweep target the legs of Pokemon that are heavy, or Pokemon so they can trip and hurt themselves because they have more weight, so it would do more damage. So Surge would congratulate Ash on his victory, as he then tell him that he did well. But after Surge gave Ash the Thunder Badge, a poisonous gas would surround everyone in the gym, including Brock, as would then knock out everyone. A few hours later, everyone was in a van with red sellotape around their mouths and all trapped, as Dratini was also trapped and locked up. As then, two of Team Rocket's Pokemon, Raticate and Golbat, who had evolved from the other two Pokemon, would surround all four sentient beings that were trapped, including Brock, Dratini, Surge and Ash. As then, from the driving area of the van, they would all hear the voices of the Team Rocket grunts saying that they had captured Surge, as it seemed like they were reporting to someone. As then the other person with a very deep and mature voice would say, "Oh, so you've captured Surge? Yes, take him to the hideout." As then the two grunts would say, "Yes, sir," as they continued driving. As the man on the other end of the phone call then say that Team Rocket right now really needs Surge. He is going to be very valuable to us. Well, he was an admin, he knows how it works. We need him back now. As then the two grunts would say that Surge is on his way, and that they've also got the Dratini that the boss wanted. I said the boss, the man who would turn out to be another opponent, he was on the other side of the phone. He was the boss with smile. Would smile on the other end and would say, "Yes, looks like you two have really done a good job. If you guys mess this up, I will punish you very severely. But if you do succeed, you will both get a promotion to admins." As then the Team Rocket grunts would happily say, "Yes sir, we will do it." As then they would hang up on the phone, as Surge would then say under the duct tape that, "Oh no, can't believe it. I'm being kidnapped by Team Rocket. Oh no, they're trying to bring me back to work for that guy Giovanni. Never work for him again." Then Golbat and Raticate would surround all three trainers. As then they were going to attack Surge, Ash and Brock. This would get Dratini so angry that it would begin to glow, as would then evolve into Dragonair, as the force of its evolution would knock back both Pokemon. Then Dragonair would use its extreme speed to rush around all of the cells, which would break them all into pieces and get rid of all of the tape, which would then free all three trainers. As Dratini would then get rid of Golbat with a well-placed extreme speed, and then finish off Raticate with a very powerful Dragon Rage. The reason why Raticate was beaten by the Dragon Rage was because the energy generated by the evolution of Dragonair had done a lot of damage to both it and Golbat. So, both Ash and Brock had heard Surge's comment from earlier about Giovanni, as they would then ask who was Giovanni. Surgery then explained that Giovanni was Team Rocket's boss and a very evil man who didn't care about anyone other than himself. And that when he was younger, he worked for Team Rocket, but he eventually realized that Team Rocket was an evil, underhanded, dirty business that no person with any type of morals should work in, and he eventually left without giving a notice. He would then also say that lots of other people left Team Rocket, including some family of the current psychic gym leader and Koga, as they realized how evil and disgusting Team Rocket really was. And that Team Rocket is probably on the decline, as Surge really helped them when he was part of Team Rocket, and that now Team Rocket needs him back, as he was one of the best admins that they ever had. Then both Ash and Brock would understand, as then Dragonair would then motion them to go and collect their Pokeballs, something that they'd all do. Instead, Dragonair would then launch a Dragon Rage, which would leave a massive hole in the van, as it would then fly up into the sky with all of the trainers, as they would then fly all the way back to Vermilion City, as the Team Rocket Grunted failed their mission to capture Surge, and the additional mission that they gave to themselves to capture Dratini/Dragonair. Then Surge would say that Ash really was a strong trainer, and that his Dratini of his was really something else, and that he was impressed that it evolved and saved them all. Then Ash would thank Surge for the compliment, saying that that Dragonair was his strongest Pokemon, and that he cares about it very much. Surge would also say that the base that Team Rocket might have been talking about might have been the one in Teledon City. Then Surge would then bid them their farewells, as they would then make their way onto the SSN. On the SSN, they would meet the gentleman who would want to battle Ash. Ash would use Pidgeotto against his Raticate. Pidgeotto would hit the gentleman's Raticate with a Wig Attack for a decent chunk of damage. Then Raticate would respond with a Hyper Fang, which would do quite a lot of damage to Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto would then use Gust, which would do a lot of damage, which would then knock out Raticate. As Ash would then return his Pidgeotto, and the gentleman would still propose a trade, as he would say that because Ash is trying to fill out the Pokedex, he should try and expand his roster of Pokemon as much as possible, and that getting rid of Pidgeotto via trade wouldn't remove him from his Pokedex. Even though Ash wasn't sponsored by Oak, yes, and that even though his mum had raised him to be an intelligent person, that still doesn't excuse how gullible Ash is, as he would trade his his Pidgeotto with Raticate to the gentleman. But eventually, Ash would realise the mistake he made and would make the trade back with Pidgeotto. And the SSN is still sink, as in my opinion, I think the ship was not very stable and wasn't really built for transport really. I'm pretty sure in the original timeline it was made to sink, and it wasn't really built to transport people. It was just built as a massive scheme to steal Pokemon by Team Rocket. So yeah, it would still sink, and Ash and Brock would still be the last people to leave because of Ash's stupidity with trading with the gentleman, as Dragonair would then swim them right out of the sunken SSN, as it would swim to the nearest island. Dragonair would be exhausted, as even though the island was the nearest, it wasn't really too near or local. So all three including Ash, Brock, and Dragonair, would pass out on the island. As when they passed out, a shiny Eevee would, being the kind Pokemon it was, would decide to give Ash, Brock, and Dragonair some berries. As many hours later, they would wake up and consume the berries. As then, after consuming the berries, Ash would go on to see the Eevee coming to give them some water and more food. As Ash, realizing that it was the Dratini that had helped them out, would chase after the Dratini that had run away, as it didn't expect Ash, Dragonair, or Brock to be awake. As Ash would chase after the Eevee to thank it for what it did, as he would then make it to where the Eevee was, as he would then tell the Eevee not to be shy and that he doesn't bite, as he would then talk to the Eevee and ask it why it did that. The Eevee in Pokemon Talk would say that it did that because it wanted to help, and that it has a friend on the island, and that it doesn't know where it is, and that it has been lonely for a little while on the island. Ash wouldn't be able to understand what Eevee was saying completely, but he would understand the part that Eevee wanted to help them out, that Eevee had a friend on the island, and that it was currently lonely as it couldn't find a friend. Instead, Ash would say that he likes Eevee a lot, and that Eevee was such a kind Pokemon for helping him, and that if Eevee wanted to come with him, as he would look after Eevee and make sure that it was never lonely again. Eevee would like this offer that Ash had made, as it would then nod, saying that it wanted to come with Ash. As then Ash would pull out the Pokeball and catch Eevee. As Ash would be intrigued as Eevee told it that it used to have a friend on the island that seemed to have no Pokemon around, as all the other Pokemon had swam away because it didn't have much resources in their eyes and they wanted to be in a much bigger environment. So Ash would then look more around the island, as he would then find a Horsey. It would realise that this was probably the friend that Eevee was talking about, as there was no other Pokemon. And not wanting Eevee to not have its friend, it would send it out, as both Pokemon would be very happy to see each other, then confirming the suspicion that it was Eevee's friend. Eevee would say that the reason why it and Horsey were the only Pokemon around were because all the other Pokemon had, like Ash had thought, had swam away to go and live in much bigger places with much more abundant resources. As then, Eevee hadn't went with them, as Eevee doesn't like to be in water, and that it likes the hot and humid climate of the island better. And Horsey would say in Pokemon Talk that it wouldn't want to abandon its friend, and that's why it stayed. Ash would somehow be able to understand some of what they were saying, as he would then say that he had caught Eevee and would ask if Horsey wanted to come with him too. Horsey would of course do this, as he would then pull out another Pokeball and catch Horsey. It's just as Ash had caught both of those Pokemon, Dragonair and Brock had caught up to him. As then Brock would ask what happened, as Ash said that he had made 2 new friends. As then Dratini would smile and say in Pokemon Talk that it was happy to see that Ash had found some more friends. As then Dratini would decide to fly both Ash and Brock to Saffron City, where the nearest gym was. As it would take a while, but eventually Dratini would fly them to Saffron City. And also, I'd just like to say that the reason they don't use Pidgeotto was because Pidgeotto isn't big enough to really fly them yet, and that it could probably only fly like only one of them. So Ash and Brock would decide to use Dragonair occasionally to transport them from place to place. Instead, they make it into the Saffron City gym, where they will battle Sabrina. Sabrina would use Kadabra as Ash would use his newly found Eevee. Ash would know that because the island was around Saffron City, that the Pokemon around Saffron City are in their mid-level 20s to their level 30s. He would check his handybook to see what moves that an Eevee around that level range would know, as he would then call for a quick attack, which would knock back Kadabra, as then Kadabra would go for Psybeam, which would do a decent chunk of damage to Eevee. So Eevee would then go for a Swift, which would knock it back. Then Kadabra would slam Eevee all over the place with its constant sidekicks, as eventually Eevee would get hurt by the sidekicks, but after a while Kadabra would let go as it thought that Eevee was knocked out, but Eevee would then stand right back up, ready to battle, as it would then go for a super effective bite, which would do a decent chunk of damage to Kadabra. As then Kadabra would be barraged by Swift, as eventually it would be knocked out. The reason why Kadabra fainted so fast was because it isn't a secret to anyone that Kadabra's physical defenses are kind of lacking, as it was hit by a very super effective physical move and a very strong quick attack. So yeah, that's why it got knocked out so fast. And it was barraged by very high intensity at close range Swifts. So yeah, Ash would then return his Eevee, as Sabrina would then congratulate Ash on his victory, saying that it was a very good battle, as Ash had also snapped her out of her weird trance. As then Ash would ask her if she was in Team Rocket before, as Sabrina would get a bit defensive and angry that Ash brought up Team Rocket, as she said that when she wasn't all there, in their head, when her psychic powers are out of control, Giovanni met her and he took advantage of her by manipulating her to work for Team Rocket and be in it. But eventually, after she realized what she was being used for, she snapped out of it, left Team Rocket, and even though her psychic powers were still out of control, she just came back to Saffron City and continued living with her family, doing her duties as a gym leader. It's then Ash would understand. Ash would then ask her if it was true that Team Rocket's hideout was in Saladon City. Then she would say yes, and that it's also the next location of Ash's gym badge. Ash would then ask for locations to Saladon City, and she would then tell him, and she would then bid him farewell. So the events of meeting Ash and Brock would pretty much go the same, but in this timeline, I'm going to say that Brock catches Primeape. As also, in this, I'd also think that in too many of my what ifs, Ash gets a Primeape. And I want to try to do things differently in my more recent what ifs. And yeah, after Brock catches Primeape, Ash and Brock make their way to Saladon City, where they would look around the place, and Ash would know that after he gets his gym badge, he was going to go and investigate Team Rocket even further. Anyway, this is the end for now.